Okay, this is Vepija, and we are back in Drakensang. So our informant is gone. What do we do? Let's do this dude's quest. Mr. I lost my lucky talisman. Freaking idiot. Uh-oh. The rat's got her talisman. Must have went down here. Let's break these drums first though. A one berry. Some rusty nails. Stupid rusty nails. Way. Caltrops. Uh-oh. Somebody's gonna have a little pokey when they're walkie. Really? Mr. Rat just sitting there? Old bread roll. Sounds tasty. Okay, what does the rat want? Okay, where's the chick? Did you get your butt up here? Not this way.
Avenging Kirkham.
Oh, really? Right. Taking care of business. What did I do, miss?
Avenging Kirkham. Attack. Let me do that.
Some wolf rat's tails.
I'll take care of that.
Think back in here, or is it just that's just a dead end? Looks like a dead end. Yeah. Okay, what's this? Poisoned. We're poisoned. That's not good. Ah! Like then. Level 3. Okay, that's the rat tails. Okay. Now let's get out of these things and give that his lucky charm back to that stupid guy up there. Another more rats? Right.
Let me do that.
How many stupid poison rats are we gonna have to come against? That's it then. Sweet. Okay, where's this idiot?
So you are back again? Have you found it yet?
Oh, many thanks. That was incredibly kind of you. Now I can finally go back to work. Please take these 2 thalers for your trouble. Farewell. May the 12 gods watch over you, and may your destiny never be to trip over a chicken and lose something important. Yeah, you know what? I really don't think that was all that
Take
great.
care of that.
Because, you know, we both got poisoned. And she doesn't have a treat poisons skill. So, and she's got a -3 strength because of it. But he at least has a cure poison skill.
Come closer. Fresh herbs from Avistru.
Okay, what we need, I think, is this, right? +1 treat poison, yes. I wish she could do that. Go back out to here, to the harbor district, and see if we can get something else about the murders.
Listen up, everyone.
Yeah, not that way.
You are most welcome. Please take a look around at the legendary selection of the store brand trading firm's goods.
Dwarven steel. Ooh. 200 ducats? Holy. Okay, why are these red and this one is not? When this is 40 ducats, I only have 8. There ain't nothing here I can afford to buy.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm in the middle of an important official meeting here?
No, you ain't got nothing more to tell me. Drunk. Every town needs a good drunk. That goes to Praise Square. Townsperson, townsperson. Or gate locked. We're over here. Okay, we need to go to Wagoner's home over here. So forward and to the left. More caltrops. Shady character.
Just keep walking. What do you think of that?
Huh, okay. I think we should keep walking. More Furdock Pale Ale. Mousetrap. Let's go over to Wagoner's home and see if we can't find Gladys.
This is a pleasant quarter. It reminds me of the alleyways of Almada.
Hey, you! This is the end of the road for you!
You think so? You pay silver for Youth Road. I see, and who is this Boris be? Boris me, give silver or trouble.
I'll take care of that. Avenging Kirkham. For Amazon Pride.
Farthing? A farthing and a knife. A cudgel and a knife and a farthing. What about this guy's cudgel? I want his cudgel. Townsperson. Salve of healing.
up, everyone.
Great. Another crate. Some elm wood. I suppose we should go over to Ilko's murder.
Yes, that's exactly where it happened.
Excuse me? That's where poor Ilko lost his life. Excuse me, my name is Lake Donna Dragenshoff. I'm investigating these murders here in Furdock. What is your name, madame? Lovinger is my name. I live here in this house. I saw you from the window up there. Could I ask you a few questions about the death of old Ilko? Certainly, with pleasure. Did you see what happened to the old man? No, I didn't see it, but I heard it. It was a few days ago. It had already been dark for a while when I heard muttering and then some kind of tussle outside my window. First I didn't think much of it. That kind of thing is quite normal around here. When the sun goes down over Wegener's home, the worst riffraff in Furdock all crawl out of their holes. Is that all? You're in a hurry, aren't you? Let me finish. So I heard a tussle, but I didn't pay much heed to it. I just thought it was the usual drunks and knaves who make our streets so dangerous. But then, I'll never forget the moment I heard a scream. It was so loud and full of agony that I still shudder to think of it. At first I didn't dare go to the window. I waited for what seemed an eternity, though it was probably just a few moments. But in the end, my curiosity got the better of me. I had to see what happened. And then you saw Ilko? Yes, I did. Not a day goes past where I don't wish I hadn't gone to that window. That awful sight still haunts my dreams. Old Ilko lay there in front of my window. He was covered in blood, with a gaping hole in his chest. Prayos, protect me. What kind of animals would do that to a poor old man? I'm sorry. I'm so upset. Poor Ilko. I hope you find his tormentors. Can I ask you 2 more questions? Certainly, with pleasure. You see who did that to him? I'm not sure. I saw something moving, shadows in the darkness. But I don't know if it was his murderers. Poor Ilko. He was such a good person. Sob. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Later on, the street was filled with onlookers. Somebody called the town guard. Even the head guardsman turned up. But he didn't seem very interested. He probably just wanted to go home to bed. Old Ilko was just a worthless old vagrant to him. He didn't care at all. Can I ask you a few more questions about the death of old Ilko? Certainly, with pleasure. Everybody in Wegener's home knew him. You know, people around here aren't exactly rolling in money. Ilko was a nice old man. He lived from the generosity of others, like many in Wegener's home. But he wasn't the type to waste time on a selfish self-pity. You should have seen how well he cared for Mimi. Who's this Mimi? Oh, you've already met her. She's the little cat you scared away. She belonged to old Ilko. He always took such loving care of her. It was so touching. Ilko would scrape and save every farthing he could to buy her a bit of fresh fish from the fishwife further up the way. I'll never understand how anybody could take the life of such a lovely person in such a terrible way. Can I ask a few more questions about the death of old Ilko? Certainly, with pleasure. Do you have any idea why somebody would be out to kill Ilko? No, it makes no sense at all. He had no possessions apart from his cat and whatever he had on him, although, let me think. Sometimes, during the festivities, and the like. Ilko would marry a very pretty brooch. It looked quite valuable to me, but not valuable enough to kill for. If he didn't always wear it, then he must have had some kind of hiding place for it. Do you think that's possible? I suppose so. He certainly wasn't stupid. He may well have had a place to keep his most valuable possessions. But now he's dead. Mimi's probably the only one who knows where it is. Could ask a few more questions, certainly. He said old Ilko often bought fish for his cat. Where can I find this fishwife again? Of course, that's right. Mimi's a stray, just like Ilko. Maybe that's why they got along so well. They were inseparable. Ilko always bought a fish when he wanted her to come to him. It was like magic. When Ilko had a fish, little Mimi would jump out of the next bush. Yes, that's right. Mrs. Strunkler's fish stall isn't far from here. Just go up this path. Can I ask a few more questions? Do you know anything about the other murders? I heard they murdered our dragon. Terrible. He was Fredek's best Immin player and the most popular. I can tell you, he never hurt a fly. Why, such a cruel fate for such a gentle person. These murderers should be punished. What about the murder of Ardo of Borstak? What's that? Another of these awful murders? By the 12 gods, what is happening to this town? I didn't know there was a third victim. Why has Fredek sunk so low? Nothing but sorrow and pain. Can I ask a few more questions? Certainly, with pleasure. Do you have any idea why somebody would be out to kill okay, no. But fish. Sorry, do you know what happened? Do you happen to know a woman called Gladys Schladomir? Let me think. I've heard that name before. I can't say where or when. Any more questions? Thank you for your time. That's all we got here. Good. Poor old Ilko.
Such a bloody deed will not go unpunished.
I agree. Where's that cat go?
Fish, fresh fish.
Ah, here she is.
Engelbar perch, roach. If it's got scales, it's for sale. Come close. Fish, fresh fish. Oh, hello. What can I get you?
Why do all the women stand like that? Good day, I was just chatting to Miss Lovinger. Her house is just around the corner. She told me that old Ilko often bought some fish for his cat from you. That's right. Every month he used to get some fresh salmon for his little cat Mimi. I'll never understand why someone murdered that poor old man. He never hurt anyone. He didn't deserve that. Excuse me, but do you have any salmon? I'd like to give his little cat a treat. I'm sure she misses poor old Ilko. That's very nice of you. I'm afraid I don't have any whole fish left. Here, take these leftovers. I'm sure little Mimi will enjoy them. Do you know Gladys? I was told that I could find her here at Wagoner's home. Gladys? Yes, I know her. Why are you looking for her? A mutual friend of ours was murdered. I've wanted to discuss the matter with her. What is happening to this town? Murders and more murders. Each more brutal than the next. Oh, I'm sorry. Back to your question. I saw Gladys this morning at the Serene Sow. It's right across from my stall, over at the end of the street. Something else? You saw anything apart from fish? Oh yes, my husband sometimes trawls up all kinds of baubles from the river. Maybe you could find some of it useful. Magic amulet not identified for 32 ducats. Sandals for 2 thalers, an old mace, and a rusty cleaver. Okay, so Just up here? Again, this is like ancient times. How do the signs blink like that? Let's go find Gladys. Where's Gladys?
My counter may not be as clean as an elf baby's bottom, but at least you get the best Murdoch beer here.
So what can I get you? I'm looking for somebody. Her name is Gladys Schladermere. Could you help me? It's very important that I find her. Ha! I'm looking for a woman too. But joking aside, Gladys is a woman who prefers not to be found. But she'll find you if it's important enough to her. You can rely on that. Just a moment. Hey, Dan, do you think the cellar will clear itself? It should be done by now. Get to work. I don't have time to wait until she just turns up. I need to speak with her urgently. It's about the murder of a mutual friend. Where is she? Listen, boy, are you deaf? I don't know where Gladys is, but wait. Maybe Four Finger Sam knows where she is. What are you gaping at? Go and ask him. Gawping at. Fine, I'll go and do that. Tell me, boy, do you think Ibram's a little rude to his people? I'll help him. Ibram, why talk to a poor dumb Dan like that? Just because he's a little slow, there's no need to bully him. Listen here, Yalek. You want to do my job, do you? I can have him put you outside too. If you don't like the way I've run things here. There's nothing the slightest bit serene about this place. Listen to yourself. I'm off to speak with Four Fingers Psalm. What do you want? Excuse me, Mr. Psalm, but the income said you could help me find Gladys Schladermere. Really? And why should I help you, lad? I know a lot of people who are friends with Gladys, and I know something else for sure. You're not one of them. Listen to me. It's very important that I speak to her. If you can tell me where she is, then please tell me. Listen to me. You're funny, you are. But I won't make your life difficult. I haven't seen her for a long time. I think Pippo Rito spoke to her recently. Go ask him. I'm sure he can help you. You'll see. I'm kind of getting the runaround here, don't you think?
What do you want?
You're Rito, aren't you? Psalm said you might be able to tell me where I could find Gladys Schladermere. Gladromir Schladis? I don't know. No, Gladys Schladermere. Oh, I see. Why didn't you say so? It's easy mistake to make, so do you know her? Do you know her? Nope. Excuse me, but Sam just told me you spoke to her recently, and you're saying you don't know her? Haha, you shouldn't take anything that old fool says seriously. He pickled his brain in moonshine a long time ago. Know what I mean? I can't help you. I really can't. Wait a minute. I think Gold-Tooth Yalek said something about Gladys earlier. Ask him. Holy crap.
So, you're looking for Gladys, are you?
Yes, I really need to speak to her. But one minute everybody knows her, and then nobody does. If you know where I can find Gladys, please tell me. It's really important. Not sure. I don't know you. You could be a spy from the town guard. Know what? Best just forget it. Shouting too loud for Gladys can end badly. We don't want that, do we? That's it. Tell me where she is right now. Hold your horses. I don't want any trouble in my tavern. It's so difficult to get blood out of the wood floor. But nobody cares about that. Soapstone will take care of it. Pah. Don't worry, Ibram. But back to you, stranger. I can't tell you where Gladys is for one simple reason. Because I don't know. Just relax. Have a nice mug of Furdock ale. You probably got enough farthings on you. I hope so anyway. Questions always make me really thirsty. Just forget it. I no need to make a fool of me.
Oh, someone seems to be offended.
Yeah, how about... Gladys gonna come running out when I try to leave?
I'd like to go back in there again and teach those fellas a lesson.
What's a huckster, huh? Our door. Let's go back and talk to the fish lady.
What do you want? Nothing, right?
Me? What are you talking about? I'm just stretching my legs a bit.
What do you want? Nothing, right?
Fish, fresh fish. Carp, engmacher, roach. If it's got scales, it's for sale. Come closer. Fresh fish. Fish, fresh fish. Oh, hello. What can I get you? Strong
Okay.
fish are cheap and delicious. Fish, fresh fish. Carp, engmacher.
You there, hold on. I've just heard you were looking for me. What's so urgent it can't wait? Well?
What? How? Who are you? Gladys Schledromir. You've been looking for me all this time, and now you don't recognize good old Gladys? I'm deeply offended, I can tell you. You're Gladys? Please, forgive me. After all my problems finding you, it was starting to wonder whether you even existed. But here you are. Madam Captain Borkensmith was right. You really are difficult to find. Heh. I'll take that as a compliment from the Madam Captain. What else did she have to say about me? Well, yes, she told me you're also a friend of Ardo of Borstock. It was Ardo who asked me to come to Furdock. Ah, you must be Lacedawn of Bragashoth. He often spoke of you. Old Tooth. Everything's alright. You can go back again. Thanks. Go back now. Thanks again. Yeah, no problem, Gladys. Anything for you. Say hello to Cano for me. See ya. Welcome to Furdock, even though it's a sad occasion for us both. But why did you want to meet me? Why? Well, I want to clear up Ardo's murder, and I thought you might be able to help me. For Ardo? Yes, of course, I'll help you. I've done a little research of my own, unfortunately with limited success. Could I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you happen to know a Forgrim and where I might find him? Forgrim? So you don't mean the swell-headed, good-for-nothing dwarf of a would-be bodyguard? He's possibly in the silver pitcher on Prez Square, but drowning his sorrows in Furdock Pale Ale. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. What do you know about the murders? Well, they say there's been a series of murders, including Ardo's, but there are several things about it that seem a bit fishy to me. What do you mean? I don't know for sure, but there's something wrong with the whole thing. It's just a hunch. How well did you know Ardo? Ardo looked after me for a long time when I was younger. He taught me much about Midden Realm, particularly about all the self-important snobs, as he always called the noble classes. You know, of course, that he was cut from a very coarse cloth for a nobleman. He told me then that he found learning to write very difficult, and that he really only did it because it was essential for someone of his standing. But he always said that bathing more than once a moon was nonsense and heresy. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know. I've him to thank for my stubbornness and my store of salacious details about various members of nobility. I miss him a lot. Yeah. That's about all you got for me, huh? Sure. Yes, you're right. Let's go. Alright, Gladys joins us. You little Mimi, eat up.
Fresh fish, carp, engelbart perch, roach,
Jokfus Booch.
just this morning in the Great River.
Cat just would like go bye-bye? No, he's right here. Okay, into the bush and gone. Okay. So, what are we supposed to do now? Make a report to Barla. Make a report to Barla. Okay. Actually, looking at the time, I think I'm going to call it here. And we will continue this next time. This has been Vepija. Click that like and the subscribe and the bell, and we'll see you next time. Later.